Welcome to Terra at Home with your host, Chris Moretti.
Good morning and welcome to Terra at Home for a very special edition. We're joined right off the bat with Chef Rachel in the kitchen, and today we're going to be creating a local feast featuring Ontario fresh produce. I'm so excited, Rachel, to celebrate the Thanksgiving season. Of course, this is when we do celebrate all of our wonderful local fruits and vegetables coming in from the fields, and we're going to create something fabulous with the best of what Ontario has to offer.
Yeah, I think it's really great that we're so lucky to have all these products, right? So it's a great time to really celebrate them and be thankful for everything that we have. There's lots on the menu today.
Yeah, let's go over what we're going to be creating.
Okay, so we have some Cornish game hens. That's going to be our main, with some stuffing that we're going to start off with.
Wonderful.
Our sides are herb roasted potatoes. We're going to do a salad of fennel and apple and pear with a nice dressing, and then a little treat for dessert as well.
Sounds great. So we'll get started with our Cornish game hens and the stuffing that's going to go in them.
Right.
We've decided to do something a little different. So the Cornish game hens will be the main, which is sort of a bit of a throwback. It used to be a pretty popular thing to make for Thanksgiving, so we thought we'd revive that a little bit.
Yeah. So we'll start with the stuffing here. Get the butter melting in the pan on high heat. Now this is a fairly traditional stuffing.
Okay.
Bread, celery, onion. I have a little bit of garlic here that I've chopped up, so we'll start with that. And we'll just get this cooking, and then we'll focus on the hens. So put on high heat, and then we just want to saute the vegetables till they're nice and soft. And at that point, we can add in the bread, a little bit of stock, and our seasonings.
I understand that you made the stock yourself from scratch.
Right, I did a little bit ahead of time, just because it's a little time consuming.
Yeah.
But basically it's a chicken stock, so of course our Ontario chicken bones. In a pot, you want to fill the pot up, cover the bones with cold water.
Okay.
Bring it up to a boil. And once it comes right up to a boil, immediately we want to turn it down to a simmer. You never really want to boil with stock because it becomes cloudy and you get all those impurities. So put it down to a simmer. At that time you can add your mirepoix, which is just a rough cut of leeks, onions, carrots, and celery. Add in a spice bag too, if you like, little tie of thyme, parsley, maybe some bay leaf if you have any of that. And that's it. You want to simmer it for about an hour, 2 hours. I mean, the longer you simmer it, the better.
Yeah, the richer it will be.
Yeah, and then you just strain it. So it's fairly simple. It's a little time consuming, but it's nice. It's nice to know that you made your own and you know where it came from.
That's it. Especially if you are trying to focus on eating local and buying local, creating your own ingredients from things that you buy at the market or at your local stand is a great way to do that. So things like stock can be hard to find pre-made locally, but controlling the ingredients that you put into it and making it yourself is a great alternative if you've got some time.
At this point, I'm just going to add in the herbs too, cook the herbs in there. So I have some parsley and thyme in here. So we'll just put that in, put a little bit more in after. So we'll get that cooking, and we just want to get it nice and soft.
Oh, as soon as the herbs hit the pan, it smelled amazing.
Okay, yeah, that smells good. Put this aside for now. Okay.
Okay.
Now, for the hens. Beautiful.
Yeah, they're a couple of pounds each, so we've got quite a bit to serve there. I mean, one hen alone could probably serve 2 to 3 people, I would say. Yeah,
I would say after it's cooked, that's fair assessment. But again, it depends on how hungry you are. Someone might want a whole hen to themselves. So for this, we're just going to do a little bit of a herb rub. I'm going to start with some salt and pepper on each of these. And we actually have, I believe the necks are still in here, so we just pull those out as well.
Okay.
We can do that now. And we can put these aside. in a pot.
Okay. We can set them in a bowl for now.
And we can use those later to make a little bit of a sauce if we want, right?
Perfect.
There we go. If I could get you to do me a favor, Chris.
Sure.
And sprinkle a little bit of salt in the cavity for me, and I'll just rub it around. Perfect.
Having two hands is nice when you're working with poultry. Obviously, food safety is important, so we don't want to touch all of our utensils and stuff with henny hands.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? I'll get you to sprinkle some on top as well. Perfect. And then I can use my hands for this because this is all it's going to be used for, but I have some melted butter here.
Nice.
So we're just going to brush that on top, give it a little bit of moisture.
Butter makes everything better, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Okay. These are looking really good. And then the herbs that I've cut up for this, a little bit of thyme and rosemary.
Perfect.
Are my herb selections, but again, whatever you have around the house.
Definitely.
In your garden would be really nice.
Yeah, it doesn't get much more local than your own garden. So if you did maintain an herb garden throughout the summer, even in containers, this can be certainly a wonderful way to celebrate that and to use them for the Thanksgiving season.
So I've just finally chopped these up and we'll just rub it right on top.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Looks very nice too. So I have set the oven now to about 400.
Okay.
So we'll put these in, and you know, they shouldn't take too long because they are probably around an hour. We'll see. They are, you know, smaller than a whole turkey, obviously.
Right.
So it's not going to take quite as much time, which is also a nice thing when you're doing Thanksgiving. And
Definitely.
you have the family all around. Do up a couple of these and it will take half the time. All right. So I'm just going to dump this in with my... Get that cooking. I'll give that to you.
So for stuffing, the idea is just to sort of soften all the vegetables, and then we've got the bread in there, and that's going to work together. And so we're just pre-cooking it a little bit. Is that the plan?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you can add the stock at this time too.
Okay.
Because you want the moisture to soften the bread up. Yeah. So you just want to make sure everything is cooked, and then you know it doesn't need to do all the cooking in the hand. It just kind of warms up and gets even more soft. But you want to make sure that your stuffing's cooked, especially if you're going to be putting meat or anything like that in a stuffing. Always pre-cook it first.
Now, as far as physically stuffing the birds, once our stuffing has cooked sufficiently in the pan, we're going to put them in the bird. Is there any special consideration for doing that?
I don't think so. You know, you just want to loosely stuff it. You don't want it like really overflowing, but yeah, just with, you know, your hands or a big spoon, loosely stuff it in there, maybe a little bit more seasoning, and it's ready to go in the oven.
Sounds great. So we'll get the stuffing in the birds as soon as that's done simmering, and the birds will go in the oven. When we come back, we're starting on our sides. Stay with us.
Come and explore the new Terra, where color lives.
When we first bought the house, the lawn was nothing but brown. So I called my father-in-law. You know, he's really good with the lawn. He knows exactly what to do.
Well, I told him you're Scott's turf builder. He said, well, I got this other stuff, and I told him, take it back to the store. But some brands have filler, like sand and gravel, stuff you don't want on your lawn. Scott's turf builder is pure food. Every granule's 100% nutrition. You get what you pay for every time. You see what happens, Tim, when you listen to your father-in-law?
All food, no filler. That's the Scott's advantage.
Welcome back to Terra at Home, where we're celebrating Thanksgiving with all of the best Ontario produce we could find. Local Thanksgiving is a great thing, and we're so lucky to have so much great Ontario produce to work with. Our Cornish game hens are in the oven, and now we're ready to start on sides. What are we making?
Right, so for the sides, we've got some great options. First, we're doing a roast potato, so something a little different from your traditional mashed. And then we have an apple fennel pear salad.
Great.
So something just a little different. For the potatoes, fairly simple. I mean, these are just, you know,
Ontario
fairly
white
small.
potatoes,
So I've been having them or quartering them depending on the size of the actual potato. So that's them ready in the bowl. And I'm just going to mix it with some melted butter.
Okay.
Put that in there for a little moisture, get them nice and brown. And I have some chopped fresh herbs again. So we have a lot of fresh herbs in this meal. Just a little bit of everything, thyme, rosemary, parsley. So we'll put that in, some salt and pepper. Roasted potatoes are nice because they're fairly simple. You know, you just toss them up, get them in the oven, and really they could cook in there all day. You really can't go wrong with roasted potatoes. And then if they're ready before you are, you can take them out, let them sit, and just reheat them when you're ready to serve.
Perfect. Yeah, it's basically sort of a set and forget side where it only takes a few minutes to mix together, and then they just have to go in the oven. So no elbow grease.
Exactly, and so tasty too. One of my favorites. Now we're going to add to the potatoes when they're done some white onion. So we'll get that going now. I'll just pour this into our dish. Great.
Great. Nice color on the fresh herbs, so it looks wonderful.
Thank you. So I'll put this over here for now.
So those will roast on their own, and then we're sauteing some onions that we'll mix in after the potatoes are finished?
Right.
Okay.
So nice small fresh spring onions. I'm just julienning these, so I'll show you again how I do that. Peel the onion and cut it in half. Okay. And then I cut off both ends on a little bit of an angle. Take out that little middle piece so you can reserve that. That'll be nice for our stock.
Yeah.
If you do this ahead of time. And then just thinly slice. So this is our julienne onion. Now if you wanted to cut this up differently, if you wanted to cut it into nice big chunks, or if you had you know, small pearl onions, you could definitely put them right in with the potatoes. In this case, these won't take very long, so if you put them in with the potatoes, they get way too overdone before your potatoes are done. So again, some butter, a little bit of garlic in the pan, and we'll just saute those on low.
Okay.
We can kind of forget about those as well. All right.
Great.
Now on to the salad.
I'm excited about this salad. We're using fresh apples and fennel, really nice autumn flavors in that, and a bit of pear as well. So again, putting that local produce to great use. In a nice fresh side. It's a little bit of a different take on a Thanksgiving side because we're going to serve an actual cold salad as opposed to everything being hot. But I think it'll add a little bit of freshness to the table. It'll be great.
Yeah. So I've already started to cut the fennel, but I will demonstrate again how I do that.
Okay.
So fennel comes in a big bulb like this. Now this is half of it, but the other half will come out this way. This is great at the top, the fennel fronds. We're going to put that in the salad as well.
Nice.
So I just cut this in half. You want to cut the top off, and you can't really use that except for these bits that we'll put aside.
And they'll add some really lovely color to the top of the salad.
Then you're left with, you know, it's kind of an odd shape, but we work with it. We cut out the core here. And then, again, just as julienne. So
Okay.
what I do is I take each individual layer off and, you know, slice it just how, they're all different. I mean, they're all different and chunky. You just kind of have to work with it. But you want it sliced really thin because it is raw. And that'll be the base to our salad there. There you go. So nice julienne. So we'll put
Something
that
a little different.
Now to that, we're going to add some fresh apple, which I've already cut one up. Nice
So
red
again,
apple.
we're going with a nice thin julienne, so all the pieces are kind of uniform.
Yes. Mix that up. And then I've decided to add some pear as well. Thank you. And same thing.
Okay, so we'll just cut it off the decor.
Yep. Really simple, nice julienne, and then we have a really nice dressing that we're gonna...
Yeah, we're using Ruthven dressing. This is a company based out of Guelph. We carry Ruthven products at Terra. And rather than fuss over a dressing making from scratch, there are some great options here. They're all natural, made locally, and I think it's going to be really nice. So we've chosen a strawberry pomegranate dressing to add to this, again sort of mimicking those fresh fruity flavors, but there are certainly lots of options in dressings and chutneys that can really add something to the table as a finishing touch.
So there we go.
That's simple enough.
There
And
we
there's
are.
again, we're going with all sorts of different nice fresh flavors. I think it'll be something a little bit different. How are we going to use these fronds, Rachel? Do we slice them off the top, or are we using them just as a garnish?
We're gonna put them actually right in the salad.
Okay.
Throughout the whole salad, so no, not just a garnish. And we can just chop them up like any fresh herb. You can just pull off some nice pieces there, and we'll mix it in with everything. The onions are smelling great.
They are.
I'm just gonna give them a stir.
I like mixing them separate. They can be as raw or as caramelized as you want them to be, so you can have a bit more control over the onions when you do them separately like that.
Yeah. Now I want to keep these, I wouldn't say necessarily raw, but fairly firm, not too caramelized, not too soft. Get a little bit of color on them, just enough so it's not, you know, too strong of a flavor in your mouth. And we can season that up with a little bit of salt and pepper. We can also season our salad as well.
Now the salad flavors are relatively sweet. How would we season? Do we want to put salt and pepper in a salad like this?
I usually do a little bit. That's just my personal preference, but you know, obviously whatever you like. But yeah, it wouldn't hurt just to put a little bit of each in. I don't normally go overboard with the pepper. I'd probably do a little more salt than pepper, but yeah. So did you put any fennel fronds in
I
there?
didn't. I set them aside there.
Perfect. So let's have a look at these. So we just want to pick off some of the nice bits, and you know, I just kind of rip it up into small pieces. You could chop it with a knife. Yeah, it just adds a nice look to the salad, and then you still get that same, you know, fennel taste.
All right.
Looks
I'll
very
pop this in
nice.
the fridge then, and that's going to sit aside. We'll put the dressing on right before we're ready to serve.
Right.
And those potatoes need to go in the oven. How long do they need to cook for usually?
So I will put those potatoes in at 350, and I keep them in for probably at least 45 minutes. You want to turn them every so often, make sure that they're still coated in butter. If they're getting a little dry, you can add a little bit more butter.
All right.
But yeah, they should take about 45 minutes, and you can kind of have them as crispy or as soft as you like.
All right, so we'll get those into the oven. When we come back, we're on to dessert.
Come and explore the new Terra, where color lives.
Welcome back to Terra at Home, where Chef Rachel and I are preparing an Ontario fresh Thanksgiving. And we've got the Cornish game hens in the oven. They're almost ready. We've got the roasted potatoes. We've done our fennel and apple and pear salad.
Yep.
And now we're on to dessert.
Yes.
After a huge feast like we have at Thanksgiving, you don't really need a lot for dessert, but you definitely want something sweet to finish things off with. So we're going to be using Ontario peaches with a maple glaze. Is that right?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, so we have fresh Ontario maple syrup as well that we're going to put on these, and of course some more butter. But it's really nice and light because it is fruit, and you can serve it with a nice, you know, ice cream or yogurt.
Sounds great.
So we're going to do 4 peaches, so we have 8 halves.
Okay.
If you could just pass me
Those.
them. Perfect.
So we've already done a couple.
Yep. So I'm just cutting these in half, and then I have my melon baller, which is a great tool, but you can use a little spoon too if you don't have one. And so we're just gonna cut them right in half around the core. I kind of twist it open. So you have that nice half, and then I just scoop out the big pit with this.
It's just like a little
Perfect.
melon baller?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a great tool. There you go. So we'll do one more. And then I have a little bit of melted butter, and we're gonna baste it with the butter through the cooking. So we're going to cook these at 400 degrees.
Okay.
And every 10 minutes or so, for 2 or 3 times, we'll check on them and baste them with the butter. When they come out, we'll then put the sauce on top. So it won't actually cook with the glaze. There you go.
Easy enough.
Yep.
Now, peaches are marginally in season at Thanksgiving, so you might get lucky and still be able to find some of the last of the harvest, but if not, peach preserves are always a good go-to. So
Yes.
these are my preserves that we're actually going to use as part of the sauce, but if you can't find fresh peaches, you can always find canned half peaches to use for this same purpose as well.
Right, of course. So we'll just brush this with some butter.
Ooh.
All right. That's good. They're nice and juicy. We
Yeah.
can use all that juice for our sauce. So brush this generously with butter.
Looks good already.
There we go. Oh yeah. This is a great dessert. So then I have the maple syrup in the pan, about 3/4 of a cup. And we're just gonna put that in with a little bit of that juice.
Sure.
And I'll chop some of this up too. And we'll
Great.
put it in, we'll make a little glaze. So maybe just about a tablespoon or so. And we'll just cook it on medium heat so it cooks all together. I'll just start it up. And we'll chop some of these up. I'm
Sounds
really excited
great.
to try these, Chris.
Me too.
All right. So it's fairly simple. You can do this with pears as well if you want to do something different, or add pears in with it, and you have a little bit of both, a little bit of a variety.
That would be nice.
So just put
Any
that in.
kind of fruit really roasted, that heat process really concentrates all the sugars. So apple, of course, is a standby where you could do apple slices with maybe a bit of brown sugar and cinnamon. But I love the freshness of peaches that are really going to bring out some lovely flavors to the table.
Another great idea too, if it's not too cold outside, so you can get out there on your barbecue and grill them up.
Ooh, that would be
That's a nice
delicious.
idea too. It's a good presentation as well. It makes them look really neat.
So the sauce or the glaze is just going to sort of cook down and reduce a bit, and then that'll be served over top when the peaches are finished. And like you said, it would be a great pairing with maybe some just fresh vanilla ice cream, something really simple. And these have to go into the oven for, you said 10 minutes or so?
Start for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll open up the oven, we'll baste them with the butter and the juices that come out, put them in for another 10 minutes, baste them again, and you just kind of judge.
Okay.
By then the sauce will be ready, and yeah, it's great. You can pour the sauce over the ice cream. Wonderful.
All right, so we'll get those into the oven. When we come back, we'll see the entire thing finished off. Let's recap for everyone everything that we've created today. And of course, you can find all of these recipes online at terragreenhouses.com, including your homemade stock, which we used in our stuffing, which is really exciting.
So we started off with the hens, a little bit of butter, salt and pepper, some fresh herbs chopped up, stuffed the stuffing inside, some celery, onion, again, more fresh herbs, bread, homemade stock, which is a great idea. Put that in. We tuck the wings underneath. You can, skewer the end close if you want, or tie it up so it stays all tight. Put it in the oven, 400 degrees, and about an hour. I would say 40 to 50 minutes, but check on it. You want the temperature to be 180 degrees, nice and safe for eating.
We got some great fresh sides as well. We did roasted potatoes with fresh herbs too, which is a really simple solution. That way you don't have to babysit your side dishes or get in with the masher. It's all ready to go.
Yep.
And then I'm really, really excited to try the fresh salad. It's a little bit of a new spin, a fresh spin on Thanksgiving, where you've paired pear, apple, and fennel together with our dressing, and we're gonna put it all together. It's gonna be great.
Great.
All right, this will go into the oven.
Yep.
When we come back, our table will be set and we'll enjoy our fresh Ontario Thanksgiving feast. Don't miss it.
Come and explore the new Terra, where color lives.
Welcome back to Terra at Home, where our Ontario Harvest Thanksgiving is now complete. Chef Rachel, you have truly outdone yourself.
Thank you, Chris.
We've got the bounty of Ontario on our table, and we've now plated all of our wonderful dishes. Of course, all of the recipes that Chef Rachel prepared today can be found at terragreenhouses.com, along with all of Chef Rachel's recipes for any season. Rachel, you've done a really nice job of plating here, where we've got some fresh herbs for garnish, and you've got a little tip with that.
Yes, when you're garnishing your plates, if you're cooking with herbs, it's nice to garnish with the herbs that you're using. So, for example, we use the rosemary and thyme on the hen, so you want to garnish the plate with that, and then everyone knows what it is that's on there. For the potatoes, we garnished it with a little bit of sage. You don't necessarily have to go overboard and put every herb on there, though you could if you like, but it's a nice idea so people know what they're eating.
Of course, for a fabulous spread like this, you want to set the table in style, and that's exactly what we've done. We've used some of the great seasonal decor that can be found at Terra this season. Something that I particularly like is the use of fresh herbs on the table. Along with herbs in the kitchen, herbs on the table I think add a real freshness to the table, and like you said, they sort of allude to some of the flavors we've used in the dish too.
Exactly.
We finished off all of our dishes, and we've got our dessert here as well. When we left the last segment, the peaches were just going in the oven. And how did we finish off that glaze?
So the peaches went in the oven, and they ended up cooking in there for about 30 minutes. So every 10 minutes I would just baste it with the butter and a little bit of the juices while the glaze was cooking, and that was on medium-low heat, and it just simmered for about 10 minutes. Kind of thickens up a little bit, all the flavors kind of blend together, and then I took it off the heat, waited for the peaches to be done, and then when they came out of the oven, you just pour the glaze right over top.
Fabulous. We've used an eclectic mix of dishes as well to set the table, which I think adds a little bit of funkiness as well, and sets off the colors that we've used. I also used some of my fall pashminas that we have available, and we use them as chair covers. We've got them behind us and off to the side here, and that really was our jumping off point for our fall decor. So they've got a wonderful palette of fall colors, and we pulled those colors out of those pashminas and out onto the tables with a mix of dishes. We use flower pots along with our cloth napkins, our place settings, everything is all coordinated, and I gotta say, I think it looks pretty fabulous.
It does. I love this purple color for fall. It really ties in nice with the orange. So
Rachel, how did you like using fresh Ontario produce exclusively for this meal? I think it really adds something.
It does. It does. It makes you feel good, and I'm excited, you know, that we get to use all these products and just experience and support local farmers. It's really nice to be able to do that. So I encourage everybody else to think about that this Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's great.
Give it a try. From all of us at Terra and at Terra at Home to all of you at home, have a very happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for joining us.
Come and explore the new Terra, where color lives.